It's all about bikes and more. The Motorbike TV vlog with Kevin Lear.
Kevin from Motorbike TV, now sat here with Carl Fogarty, I believe to be the world's greatest superbike champion. How come you were better than James?
It's not hard really to be better than James. I don't know. I think it's a difficult thing really to answer, I must admit. I mean, at the end of the day, I was just very dedicated, very determined, very focused, hated losing, and, almost like I didn't enjoy racing bikes. I enjoy winning races, really. And I think the difference between me and James is he loved racing bikes so much, but I had this thing inside me that just drove me to win races. If I hadn't been winning races, and I don't think I've been racing bikes that long, to be honest. But I knew I was good at racing bikes. But I had to win. But I don't know. There's small gaps. It's just a little tenth here and there and stuff. Really, and maybe what bikes you're on and what teams you're with and that kind of time. But James was a very good rider. There's a lot of guys that I raced against were. Yeah. But, it's just that. I mean, that little single-mindedness and belief and determination and cockiness almost and confidence that you're better than everybody else, and that's what I probably had a little bit more than the others, and maybe that's why I didn't fit in that well with the others and wasn't like that.
Oh, did you not? No.
But James put up with me. He kind of he saw the good in me.
Is that why you work together now? Is it?
Yeah, we always been mates, to be honest. Like I said, I didn't have many bike mates when I was racing.
Yeah.
Not many of them do, but with James, we were teammates in 1990, and don't know. I think he just put up with me being a pain in the backside. To be honest, all those years when I was racing, I'm surprised he did because But he was a popular guy. He's a good guy, he's a funny guy, he's an intelligent guy, and that sort of stuff. And we all stayed mates, and we kind of get on better now. Yeah. The racing's probably over than when we did when we were racing. To be honest, you must admit. Yeah.
Hi, Kevin from Motorbike TV. I'm here with James Whitham, star of Stage and Screen. That was in 91, and was it 96 that you were voted Man of the Year?
Yeah, that's an MCN. That's not a general thing I point out at this juncture. An MCN Man of the Year. Yeah.
And how come they voted you for that?
I think we sat my grandma down next to the phone and just kept her ringing. I think that's how it worked.
So it was a voting thing, was it?
Yeah, you rung in. It was before the days of kind of when everybody had internet kind of access. Yeah, and now it's all online. But then it was it was an MCN phone line thing.
And so you got into how did you get into racing?
I got into racing. My dad was a big motorcycle fan, had bikes, took me on the back of his bikes to watch racing throughout the late 70s, went to the Isle of Man in 78 to see Halo make his comeback, all that kind of thing. And then my dad's best mate, a guy called Clifford Leach, had a son 2 years older than me called Dave Leach, who started racing when he was 17, I'd be about 15. And I'd go with him on a weekend to places like Cadwell and Carnaby and Elvington and Alton Park, and got the bug. Always wanted to, from the first minute I seen him going around a circuit, and like I say, he was a couple of years older than me, I thought, oh, that's so cool, I want to do that. And I was really lucky that my dad was he was never a really wealthy man, but he was wealthy enough he had enough money to buy me a little bike and send me off with Dave on a weekend to go and race. I started when I was 16, which was the youngest you could start at that point. It's a bit different now. Yeah. You can start when you're sort of 12 or 13. But
you can start at 12 or 13 now?
Can you, in certain classes, yeah, and even younger than that on these mini-motos. That's where most of the top riders are coming through now, mini-motos and Metro kits and all that, and you can start when you're quite young.
Did your determination come from your dad?
No, not at all. Not at all, really. It's funny because I get asked that a lot, and he wasn't like that. He was more of a nicer guy that just enjoyed racing,
Did you have to beat him?
They have to beat me down.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't really race against him, so that wasn't hard. But for me, I wasn't like him at all. He's someone that enjoyed racing, and he's more of a hobby for him. And right. For me, it was just not. I just had to win races, and it comes from I don't know where it came from. It just as a kid, I was like that when I played football at school.
It was everything, was it?
Even now, if I play tennis against Michaela and she beats me, I'll go for sulking or whatever. If I don't go sea fishing, I don't catch a fish, I'm probably not happy. That's very competitive. Just still want to win. Playing dominoes. If I get beat playing dominoes, I'm not happy.
So it's just totally.
I've not really
I
have
have
that
to
much,
win.
Really.
Yeah.
I must admit, it's just that's just how I am.
In 94, you were riding full time. What was it really like when you're on that track and you're fighting with other guys? What's that buzz really like?
Same buzzers. To be honest, there's no difference in the buzz from your first race. In a lot of ways, your first race is the biggest buzz because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know where you're going to end up. No matter how fast you think you are and how many practice days you've done, it's an unknown quantity. And for me, the buzz said the same. It was the same buzz sat on a grid with 120,000 people watching a World Superbike race at Brands than it was at Cadwell at your first, or Carnaby at your first ever race. It was the same. Little bit of unknown. You've got pressure from yourself. You don't want to let anybody down. You don't want to do. You want to do yourself justice and be quick. But
it's just the racing.
Yeah, racing's racing, and you can get that at your earliest race as well as your last race. But what does change is how professional it ends up getting. I mean, in '94, I was full time in World Superbike on a factory Ducati, and that brings pressure. You've got a lot of people putting a lot of effort and money into you being sat on the grid on a bike.
Yeah.
You don't want to let them down, but also you're on a bike that's beautiful and you've had time to set it up and everything works and you feel special because you're on one of only sort of 3 factory bikes that were in the world that year. So, there's not much of my career I didn't actually enjoy. I enjoyed pretty much all of it.
You mentioned there was only 3 factory bikes. In today's world, when we're watching British Superbikes or World Superbikes, is still a lot of it where they're self-funded.
Yeah, you'd be surprised just how many, especially now in BSB, there's a lot of people self-funding.
Really?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. There's lots of people. Now, the big sort of change within racing has been that then, when you were good enough, you were picked and paid to go racing bikes on a factory bike.
Yeah.
Now, there is people still paid
Yeah.
tons of money to race bikes.
Yeah.
But now there's also lots of people on the grid that will pay for their rides, like they have in cars for a long time.
Yeah.
Like you'll go to a team and say, right, I want to race in British Superstock 1000 and I'll pay you 40 grand to put a bike out there. So you pay the team and you buy the ride.
Right.
There's lots more of that than there ever has been. In fact, I would say, if I'm honest, back in my day, you could be, without being a world champ, and even without being a Brit. I mean, I was lucky enough to win a couple of 3 British championships. But even without doing that, if you were a decent rider, you could be, I would call it a jobbing motorcycle racer. You could go to Scarborough and have a bit of start money, and you could win a bit of money. You could enter a non-championship race at, let's say, Nuts Corner in Ireland or the Northwest 200, and you could knackle a little bit of money, and you could be a professional bike racer by winning a bit of money, getting a bit of start money, and you could do that. Now that's a lot more difficult.
Oh, okay.
It's more team-based, and it's the top lads are earning more money than ever.
Right.
But there's a big chunk below them that you used to be able to just earn a living.
Yeah.
And now it's a lot more difficult to do that.
Most people, no doubt, when they speak to you, will talk about the racing days. I'd like to know why the transition from foot peg to footstool.
The what?
From foot peg to footstool.
What, from retiring to...
No, your footstool that you've got.
Oh, sorry. Oh, God. Not quick enough there. Too many bangs on the head. Yeah. The foggy footstool.
Yeah. What's that all about?
Well, I don't know. You get asked to, a lot of times to endorse certain products and things. You know what I mean? And that's just one of them. It's the guys approached me and through Twitter and said, look, this is my company. This is what I do. I want to do a foggy kind of footstool with your logos on and the number 1 and sort of the red of Ducati and. That was it. He went from there, really. He does a lot of stuff in Formula 1, all the Lucas stuff and John Player Special, all that kind of 70s iconic stuff. And the foggy footstool there, and available on the website, 60 online, I think it's called.
Absolutely.
Quite expensive, well worth it.
Yeah, I got a bit of a shock when I saw the price. I've got it, but then again, it's a one-off, isn't it?
Yeah, they're well made, obviously. It's how they are. But I mean, I guess I obviously got merchandise with the red torpedo and. Other bits and pieces that you kind of do and sort of get asked to get involved with throughout becoming who I've become, sort of thing. Famous kind of motorcycle racer who's kind of well known outside of the racing, really.
How did you get into presenting British Superbikes and being the cheeky person that you are when you're interviewing them?
Well, I've always been a cheeky. But how I got into being cheeky on telly is I was lucky, really, like most other things in my life. My last year in World Supersport, as it turned out, I didn't know it was going to be my last year. But at that stage...
Yeah, because it's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was Jack Bernicle and it was Neil Mackenzie doing the pundit work. I knew Neil really well. I've been his teammate a couple of times in my career. And a couple of times that year, he had to get off really early from the meetings, and he missed the second Superbike race.
Right.
So Jack Burnick asked me, because I'd already raced in the Super Sport race, one race a day.
Okay.
And I stood in for Neil on the second Superbike race. Never expected it to be a career, so I didn't care what I said about who, because I didn't think I was going to have a job in it, so I didn't have to be
So
careful.
you thought, here we go, crack on.
So I just got stuck in.
Yeah.
And then the following year, Neil didn't want to do the job. He had other things to do. His kids were growing up, they were getting into racing, etc.
Yeah.
And they asked me to do it, and I said I'd do it, and I've been there 10 or 11 years now, so...
One of the other reasons that we're here is Foggy and Wit. Why did you come up, and what was the rationale behind the two of you going on stage?
You've always, over the years, you get asked to do stuff on stage, you know, for a presentation or whatever. And I guess kept thinking about it a few years ago, and I did think, why don't we just do this, go out on the road? And I don't know why I suggested it, because I'm, for one, the most probably nervous person ever for doing something like that. It's out of my comfort zone. It's not something I do. It is with James, and you know, my manager at the time, Neil, well, still is my manager, Neil, said, I know people who'll probably who could put it together, a PR company and Viva, and we kind of got together and came up with the idea and just went out, and it's just worked really, really well, because we've known each other that well, and I think people are surprised how different I am on stage and stuff, and it's not something I do a lot and something I was a bit nervous of, but yeah, it's just gone that well. It's in its fourth year now.
Yeah.
And everywhere we go, they generally sell out pretty much, to be honest. And it's only like small theatres, in a lot of time in small towns, but it goes really well. The first half, we're just chatting away about all the stories, and just funny stories really from racing. Not anybody else will probably know about. In the second half, you'll get the crowd involved, asking questions that they might want to know, that they've always wanted to know the answer to, to how I got on with such a body, what was it like signing for the whatever, but it works really, really well, and the crowds come back year after year and love it, and just, the response you get. I never had one negative comment yet from the chat, so it's amazing, really.
One of the main things, of course, that we want to talk about is Foggy and Wit.
Yep.
We don't want to say too much because we want people to buy tickets. What can they expect?
What they can expect is it's basically our racing careers that binds the whole thing together, but everything else is not. It isn't. What they shouldn't expect is for me and Carl to be talking chronologically about I did this and then I won in Sugo and then I won a World Champ. It's not that.
Right.
It's all the backstory to the things that people will know a little bit about, but they won't really know what happened.
Yeah.
And it's some of it will be, I think, quite shocking. Other bits will be funny. And I think the biggest thing people will see when they come and watch, if they come and watch, is just what a good storyteller Carl is.
Really?
I think people would expect me to be able to tell a tale. It's part of the job, and I love it. I
kind of guessed that,
Yeah, but I think people will be shocked at just how funny Carl is telling a lot of his side of things. And there's a little bit of rivalry in there. Bottom line is Carl was a better bike racer than me. It took me a long time to get my head around that.
Well,
Because as a sportsman, you can't go out there thinking you're second best. It's like a boxer going into the ring thinking he's going to get punched.
Yeah, no point in going if you think
don't
you're
go
going to
in
lose.
there.
Yeah.
But with the little bit of hindsight thrown in there, you can put a lot of things better into perspective, and you can have, and plus the fact me and Carl ain't gone no that's a grind now. We can have a bit of a pop at people if we think they deserve it. And that's what people can expect.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, a lot of people do, but a lot of people go and they're not right sure how it's going to go. They think, how's this going to work? And then once it's done and finished, he said, I just never expected that at all. I never laughed as much in my life. It's mainly because of James, probably because he's just such a funny guy. But I have my moments.
Now, do you still ride a bike on the road?
Tons. I'm unusual for a bike racer in that I've always done a lot of road riding, always. I've always had bikes. I had a bike when I was 16. I had FS when I was 16.
You had a fizzy?
Yep.
Get in, so did I.
I've still got a fizzy.
Have you?
Yep.
I want to find one.
Real nice
I want to
fizzy.
find one.
I've got an AP. I've got all sorts of GT 250s, 380s, 750s.
You got the Susie GT?
Yep.
Have you?
Just about every GT, yeah. I've got them all, yeah. I've got X7s.
That was my second bike.
Which one?
GT 250.
Yeah, which one? Ram Air.
I think it was. I think it was.
Yeah, pre-run it. Yeah. I love my old bikes, and I particularly love my 70s and 80s two-strokes.
Do you still ride on the road?
Not really. I never have much, to be honest. In fact, this year I did get a bike off Ducati for the summer. I went out because we had such a good summer. I got out a few times on one of the Ducatis. Let me an 848. and a new Street Fighter for a bit around that, and hopefully they'll do the same again this year. I'll get sort of springtime and they'll send a bike up for us, and enjoy it. I did enjoy it, to be honest, must admit, and fancy Ducati sending me the new Monster up. That'd be quite nice. And even a Diavel or something. It's a bit of a cruisy kind of.
Yeah, and you're just bike mad, basically.
I am, yeah, and I am a bit sad in the way that sometimes if I'm having a bad day or a bad week and it's winter and I don't want to go out riding a bike because I don't want to get that cold anymore, I'll go into my garage, fire one up, rev it up a bit, and it's
smell the fuel. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, one of the other aspects that I suppose I got intrigued with is, why do you like sea salt and vinegar kettle chips?
I just told you that. I like the Lancashire ones better. Lancashire crisps, best ever.
Are they really?
Yeah, honestly, Lancashire crisps is so good. I can hardly buy them anywhere. But
I've never even heard of them.
I know, but they're like kettle crisps, but better. But yeah, my favourite crisp, sea salt and balsamic vinegar. Yeah.
And that's the ones you prefer?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It used to be chicken, but now it's them.
Oh, okay. Question: what flavour crisps?
Cheese and onion.
James, thank you very much.
Cheers.
Kevin from Motorbike TV. I hope you've enjoyed listening to James. Cheers. What's the best track you were on? For me,
Aston was the best circuit. For me, it suited my style of riding and everything, and I had so much success. That was the old Aston circuit, not the one now. It's obviously not as good. But for me, Aston was my favourite circuit.
Carl, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you. And best of luck with Foggy and Wit.
Cheers, thanks a lot.
Don't forget, look at Foggy and Wit and get it booked in.
The Motorbike TV vlog with Kevin Lear. Please subscribe, like and share.